used to have a job, but I got laid off. I used to have a wife, but she said she had enough. I used to have a car, but it got repossessed. It seemed the Lord had found someone he likes to test. I've lost all the man could lose, that's why I sing the blues.
No matter what you hear in this video, just remember, the Philippines is a very, very nice country. There are a lot of good things that happen here. And all of us expat vloggers do this thing where we share our experience on the bad things that can happen and what to be prepared for. And many times you get different answers simply because our experiences are different. So what you're about to see is my experience and my truth. This is what it's been like for me. What's up, everyone, and welcome to my information series. This series is going to cover some valuable information regarding if you're planning to come to the Philippines, how long you're planning to stay, things you can do when you get here, and just information in general regarding the culture here in the Philippines. I hope to provide adequate information for you to make a well-informed decision on coming to the Philippines. It really is a great place. And this will be part one of two that I will make for people who are coming here for the first time or for their second or third time but preparing to move here. So this one will cover people, I call it the short stay, people who are going to be here less than 28 days. Here are some things that you need to know, and as always, I have notes. We're going to talk about how to plan your first trip. And the first thing you will need that is so important is an onward ticket. That onward ticket can be through any airline, going anywhere, any place, at any time, so long as you are removing yourself from this country before your 28-day window is up. How do you get one of these tickets? Well, do not, I repeat, do not go to the onward ticket sites. They're all scams. The websites are not legit. The people are not, may not even be real. The people may not even be real. There are some horror stories of people going to these rent-a-ticket sites. So you rent a ticket for the time that you need it when you're going to arrive, and you show it to the customs agent, and then it's gone and it only costs you like 20 or 30 bucks. So the thing is to save money. Go ahead and buy a real plane ticket. I got one when I came here through Tiger Air from here to Singapore, and I believe the total cost on it was like $60. It was worth it because it's a real ticket. If my flight gets delayed, if anything happens, I don't have to worry about it. There's no set time of when I can access that ticket. It's mine. I have it. And that is, in my opinion, the smart way to do it. The reason they have this ticket is because the Philippines is a visa-free country for the first 28 days. In other words, you do not need a visa before you get here. You can stay here and travel for up to 28 days before you need to apply for a tourist visa. The next most important thing I can tell you is to have a plan. If you are coming here on vacation, or if you are coming here to check out the country to see if perhaps you want to move here, have a plan. Do not try to wing it. This is not the country, this is not the place, this is not the geographical location on earth for you to try to wing it. That's a bad idea. Know what you are going to do and when you are going to do it. Have you an itinerary? professional itinerary. The more professional, the better. It tells you where you're going to be, when you're going to be there, and how long you're going to be there. Send copies to your Dropbox, to your Google Drive, to your iCloud, to anything you can send in storage, and make sure you do this. You email this itinerary to all of your family members, important family members, because they will know if they haven't heard from you in a day or two or something like that, whatever you guys agree on. They will know what your last location was. Therefore, it will be much easier for search and rescue to try to find you should something bad have happened to you. It's a good idea, I promise. The next thing you need to do is call your bank. You need to call your bank, tell them that you are going to be using your ATM card in the Philippines. And if you have any stops, if you have any layovers between here or between whatever your home country is to the Philippines, you are going to need to inform them of those places as well. For example, I flew from Charlotte, North Carolina, in America. I had a stop in Frankfurt and a stop in Singapore. I told my ATM company that I would be stopping in both places, and I'm glad I did, because I unfortunately had to use my debit card in Frankfurt. So otherwise, if you don't do that, as soon as your ATM card tells your bank that you withdrew money from the Philippines or anywhere else overseas, they're going to freeze your ATM card. It's going to take you about 7 to 10 days to get it unfrozen. And it is a pain in the neck. Trust me. Do not, this is a mistake many people make that come here on vacation. Do not bring large sums of American dollars or Australian dollars or euros, wherever you're coming from. Do not bring large sums of cash with you. It makes no sense. Do not bring it and think that you're going to go to the exchange booth, and because you get a 1 point better exchange rate or something, that it's all going to be worth it. If you get robbed, and robberies do happen around here, if you get robbed, you're going to have no money. The best thing to do, and I repeat, the best thing to do is to pull it out of an ATM here and pay the fee. You can get 10,000, 15,000 pesos out of different banks. We have a Citibank here that has, if you have Citibank at home, then you don't have a card fee. But for example, I use Wachovia, so I get a 250 peso fee on up front if I use BDO and BPI, which are the Philippine banks. So that's $4 and $5. That's $5 already. And then my bank charges an additional $5. So it just cost me $10 to get out whatever amount of pesos. Now, I withdraw larger sums of pesos to avoid so many fees. Why is it better to do it that way? Because it's just safer. You don't lose everything you got. You talk about, well, I can put my cash in the safe at the hotel. Do you think you're the only person that has the combination to that safe at that hotel? I don't think so. Every employee working there in some way can get into that safe one way or the other. I know this for a fact because I used to be involved with people in hotel restaurant management. So it just makes more sense to pull it out of an ATM. It's going to cost you just a little bit more in the long run, but if you do it right, withdraw large sums as you need it, you'll be okay. It's the best way to do it, the safest way to do it, and you'll go home with not only your money, but your life. And that's important. Now, once you get here, you need to be prepared for the heat. This is a hot country. When I say hot, I mean hot as in Temperature is in the 90s, low 80s to high 90s. The humidity is going to range between, I think the best humidity I've seen so far was 68%, between 68 and sometimes 100. The average heat index that I calculated before I put together this video was 102 degrees. Usually it's about 106 on most days that it doesn't rain. Speaking of rain, before we speak of rain, remember that the distance between Cebu City, which is in the middle of the Philippines, and the equator is only 714 miles. That's like going from the middle of North Carolina to like Evansville, Indiana. That's about how far that is. It's not far. That's why we stay with this tropical heat, tropical moisture, the whole 9 yards. And we'll get into typhoons and all that stuff in part 2. There are no fall, spring, summer, winter here. There are only 2 seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. The rainy season lasts from June to October, so we're currently in the rainy season now. It rains off and on about every day. Most days it only rains for 30 minutes to an hour at a time, and then it's over. But it makes it very humid when it stops raining. I have seen some of the most incredible lightning I've ever seen in my life since I've been here. And as a photographer, of course, I've captured that as well. If you want to see it, go to my Instagram, do_more_life. You will see some fantastic pictures of lightning. Now, the dry season is from November to May, and they actually divide this into 2 seasons. One is like hot, and the other one's like really hot or something. And the closer you get to May, or between March and May is like the hottest season. Haven't experienced that yet here in the Philippines. Not really looking forward to it, but it is what it is. Just know that you need to pack shorts and t-shirts. There are only a handful of places in this country, and they're all in the northern Visayas, where you will need a jacket or long sleeves. I believe Baguio is one of the cities, or a town next to it is one of the areas. Bring lots of sunscreen. The sun here will beat you to death, and it will burn you to death. Bring very, very high. It needs to be 70 plus. I wear 100 SPF, and you know, it does pretty good. I hadn't had a sunburn since I've been here, so I'm doing all right. But you need sunscreen, ample amounts of sunscreen, like just as much as you can put on your body all the time. Let's see. You also need mosquito repellent. Now this is very, very, very important. You cannot buy a DEET in this country, I don't think. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, and I was told by a Filipino store employee that you could not buy DEET in this country. If you don't know what DEET is, DEET's the stuff they used to spray in the 1970s maybe, I think, 70s, early 80s, that killed off all the mosquitoes, but it also gave a whole bunch of people cancer. However, the DEET they make in the bottles, to the best of my knowledge, is fairly safe if you use it properly. It's a much better repellent than the stuff they have here, which is a off-brand of Off, if that makes any sense. You know, Off, the mosquito repellent, it's like a watered-down version of Off. It's called Off, but it's not the same kind of Off we get in the States because it has no DEET. Bring DEET with you. If you're planning on staying, you know, a couple months, whatever, make sure you have enough. It's very, very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Dengue fever and malaria are prevalent throughout most of the country. However, malaria poses no threat in most highly populated areas. In the provincial areas, that is not the case. So, here in Cebu, there is no threat of malaria. I mean, I guess you could get the 1 in 100 million, but there's really, in Cebu City, CDC, everybody that I've ever talked to, seen, or heard from, there's no threat of malaria right here, which is good because the malaria meds make me very, like, crazy. They make my body all messed up, and it's not good. However, there's a larger, somewhat more dangerous disease called dengue fever that is carried by mosquitoes here. This is the only place I know of that I'm talking about this country. This country is the only place I know of where you can get a dengue vaccine. I have got the dengue vaccine. I got it when I arrived, and I need 2 more shots to be fully protected. They're expensive. They're 5,000 pesos per shot, and so that's $100 basically. For some of you that may not be nothing. I'm on a budget, but it was worth it to at least get the first shot. Gave me 70% protection according to the internal medicine doc. But if you can afford it when you get here, get it. Vaccines are available, as I said, for dengue when you get here. If you're on a short stay, however, it probably won't be necessary. So if you just want to get a good DEET spray or lotion and keep it on you, that's a good idea. It's a really, really good idea, and you'll probably be fine. You shouldn't have any problems, specifically if you're staying in the city. If you get out toward the Providence, the provincial stuff, if you're going to stay on Palawan or over toward Iloilo, or you get up in the northern Visayas, way out in the country, then you're going where there's lots of standing water. You're going to need as many vaccines as you can get, and a lot of DEET. There are other viruses you will need a vaccine for prior to your trip. Japanese encephalitis, yellow fever, rabies is not a bad idea for all the dogs walking around here. But if you will go to www.cdc.gov, you can just click right down through there. I'm a traveler, this is where I'm going, and they will tell you exactly what vaccine you need to get. And you need to start getting these vaccines 10 to 12 months before your trip, because some of them you have to have staggered. Like you have to have, for example, a Hep B vaccine. You get one, then you get one another month later, and then you have to wait 6 months on the third one. Or Hep A, you get one, then you have to wait 6 months on the next one. Stuff like that. You got to plan ahead. If you are staying at a hotel or resort, check in online at least 24 hours before your reservation begins. This will save you a ton of headache. You will not get to the registration desk and the registration clerk look at you and say, "We don't have you registered. We're going to have to swap rooms. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that." All your plans go out the window. Everything's got to change. All you have to do is go online, register, just like you register for a flight. Online, same thing. Make sure you do that. It'll save you a lot of headache and time. Bring extra money for your vacation. And here's what I mean. Many times you will hear advertisements or people from the Philippines tell you that you can get a day pass to an island excursion for $20, 20 American dollars, right? That's cheap, really, all things considered. However, and 20 American dollars is only 1,000 pesos, so it's cheap. However, what they don't tell you is this. Many times that may not include a boat to the island, definitely not a private boat. If you and your wife or you and your better half or you and your friends want to take a private boat and not be bothered by other people, it will not include that. It will not include lunch many times. Sometimes it does, but many times it won't. Most of the time it may not include diving, swimming, exploration, or guided tours. all those are extra excursions that you have to pay for. So don't plan on having a $20 island hopping jamboree because you're going to be extremely disappointed. Just make sure you have enough extra cash to cover it. If I were you, I would call ahead and ask what excursions are available and what items or fees are not covered on this trip that I need to pay for, such as my boat ride, lunch, swimming, diving, etc. And let them tell you what everything costs, and then you will know how much money to bring. Also, you need to know everything here is not cheap. If you want good internet, good food, and Western amenities, these things are available, but typically cost more than they would in the States because they have to import the stuff we have in the States, and there's always an import tax, so it's a little bit more. I always say if you want to come here and live a Western lifestyle, it's going to cost you more than it would living in the West, and it's true. But you can also live cheaply here too. If you want to stay in a non-air conditioned hostel, eat street food, and cut off the outside world for a week or two, then this may be the least expensive vacation of your life, because you can do all that dirt cheap and save tons of money and have a great vacation if that's something you're into. Finally, if you fly into Cebu International Airport, when you clear customs, I'm going to give you a little tip on how to get a taxi. When you clear customs, go out the front door, make a right on the sidewalk, and start walking. Ignore all the guys who are trying to help you. They're not trying to help you. They work for the yellow cab companies, and they're trying to get your tips, and they're trying to put you in their cabs, which are several hundred pesos more expensive depending on how far you're going than the white taxis, which I'm getting to. Keep walking past the yellow taxis. On your right side, a short distance from there, you will see the white taxis. Get into one of those. They will save you a few hundred pesos depending on where you're going. For example, it's about a 40 to 50 minute ride from MAC 10 International, which is the airport in Cebu, to where I'm at in Cebu. And in a yellow cab, the cheapest I've ever gotten that ride was 450 pesos. In a white cab, I got that ride for 250 pesos. So, you know, it's only a couple bucks, but it adds up. Now, I just want to tell you that part 2 will discuss a long stay. People that are staying more than 28 days. And I really appreciate you guys watching that are still watching right now at the end of this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Got a lot of good stuff coming up. Going traveling in about a month, and we're going to cover all that with some great vlogs. Going to have some great vloggers, some well-known vloggers on this channel to come in and collaborate with me. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed thus far and who comment on my videos. Check out my Instagram, see me on Facebook. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed it.